compliance isn't still important, because it is, but certainly I sort of regard 2012 to 2016 as a nuclear winter for this industry, and a lot of those elements are gone. Creditors are selling again. Creditors are onboarding new agencies. There's definitely less concern about the regulatory environment and legislation through enforcement that happened previously. I think some of the other things that we're hearing a lot, Joe mentioned it, definitely recession is part of it. About 1/3 of our business is first party, and so our first party clients have started talking about, what are the opportunities for expansion if we go into a recession, because that's always the first line of defense. I think there's two other areas that we're hearing a lot of chatter. One is positive and one is negative. I think there's renewed, and this is good news for MRS and TrueAccord, I think there's renewed interest in innovation. I think there's a lot of clients in the marketplace that are very concerned with right party contact rates and answer rates, and they are looking for new solutions, and those solutions are digital, and they have some concerns around it, but they're looking for the early adopters and the innovators, and we're hearing more of that than we have in the previous few years. And then the flip side of that is concerns about call blocking and concerns on whether Stir Shaken is implemented correctly, and time will tell. But that certainly has a huge impact on the industry, and I don't think anyone has a really great answer for where that's going to land.
Well, first of all, bonus points to Joe for Pat's prologue. Great quote. Second, Chris was telling me to allow me to plug the digital communication survey that I've been doing at accountsrecovery.net over the last couple of weeks. We've got about 100 responses from agencies of all shapes and sizes about the types of email or text messaging or other direct on voicemails or other digital communication tools they're using, and how well they've been working or not been working. So look for that in the coming weeks. We'll have a report out on that, and I'm excited to get that out. Microbilt is also a sponsor of that, so thanks to Microbilt for that. Moving on to our next topic before we wrap up. Again, we've only got a few minutes left, so if you've got a question from the audience, now's the time to type it in and get it to Joe or Chris before we wrap up. Wondering about the benefits of testimonials. Are those something that agencies should be using? Keeping in mind that, we're talking about agencies that may be going after smaller clients as well as larger clients. Do testimonials tend to work? And if they do, what's the best way to try and go about getting one? Chris, can you take that one first?
Sure. I think testimonials are really useful, and we use them extensively. And if you have happy clients, it's easy to get them. So we definitely use that as a strategy. I think the best way to do it is have a relationship manager call and ask them and say, we need some testimonials for a prospective client. Would you be willing to offer that? And some clients have rules where they're not allowed, and some have rules where they're not allowed to put anything in writing, but they can have a conversation. So always prep them. But I think it's powerful, and we're big believers in it.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. We use testimonials quite a bit, and I think you really earn testimonials. So if you do a great job for your clients, you shouldn't be shy about asking them.
Do you find that, agencies need clients need some coaching in how to write them? Do you offer to write them for them? What's usually that process, and how does it work best?
We generally just tell them to answer the questions and speak honestly, because we don't feel like we have to coach them. I mean, we have very close relationships with our clients, and it's a very organic process. So we just ask the clients that we want to be used for testimonials. They're going to ask you some questions. Just tell them the truth about us.
Yeah, the only thing I would add that you don't need a giant bank to do a testimonial for a doctor's office, and vice versa. doesn't really work. So we try to align the testimonials with the person that, or with the company that we're talking to. So if we're talking to a bank, then we would ask another bank or a couple other banks to talk to the bank. If it's a technology business local in San Francisco, then that might be, we have a lot of those that we would make introductions or ask to do a testimonial for.
Got it. Are there other promotional tools that you've seen or used that have been effective in terms of either winning new business, getting a foot in the door, making a splash from a promotional standpoint?
I think websites. I mean, everybody goes right to the website, and this industry has some really bad websites. So I think that's an area, and we were in that category up until last year. We really spent a lot of time last year realigning our website more to our culture and to tell our story. I think that's an area where everyone needs to spend a little time and money, because it's the first place anybody goes to get some information about you.
Yeah. Don't pull any punches, Chris.
Yeah, there are some bad.
Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Yeah, I would agree. There's some bad websites, but we use social media and whatever's available to promote, whether it be an idea or a situation or a event, and we find it to be useful, and our audience is growing. So I think people in the industry are going to are using things like LinkedIn more than they have in the past, which is really good.
Excellent. Well, we've reached the top of the hour, but before I let everybody go, what I'd like maybe Chris and Joe to do is just take a minute and either summarize, maybe some of the key points that they've brought up today or heard today, or sort of reinforce some of the takeaways they want people who are listening to walk away from, or maybe just to share one or two more points that they didn't get to address today, but just to sort of take a second and wrap things up. Maybe Chris, you wouldn't mind going first.
I would say be patient and persistent and build relationships.
Well put. Joe?
Yeah, and I would agree with Chris, and also I would agree with Chris on those topics, and I would also say, to the extent that you can, do as much research on the companies that you're looking to potentially work with. One, you'll be informed, and two, when you know things about their business and you can speak intelligently about them, then they will certainly appreciate that. They'll appreciate that effort as well.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate that. Before I let everybody go, I want to thank Joe and Chris one more time for their insights and taking the time to talk with us today. Really appreciate the thoughtfulness that you put into your answers. This webinar would definitely not have been possible without your participation. So Joe, Chris, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Also wanted to thank Microbuilt one more time for sponsoring today's webinar. Please go to www.microbuilt.com to learn more about the company. Thanks to everybody who participated and listened in today. Please stay tuned to accountsrecovery.net for news and more webinars in the near future. And a recording of this event will be posted the next day or so. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of your day. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.